Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with the FX Market Insight for Wednesday, the 3rd of July. Now, with no major extremely high impacting events until Friday, we are the currencies are in a bit of limbo, and this is where the news stations or channels can get a little bit sidetracked. Now, just looking at the various news at the moment, the main topics here: dollar retreats as US-China trade optimism ebbs. I mentioned this yesterday. Maybe it was more in the trader meeting, but dollar yuan, the Chinese currency fell like 700 points yesterday, giving back all those gains it made from the Monday from those positive talks. So I don't know what's going on there, but that's very strange. You get some domestic issues here for Trump. That's what he's getting involved in, all this international stuff to try and avoid those. Looking at EU are already coming to the table saying we're happy to talk. Okay, about these aircraft subsidies. And you've got some Fed officials here, namely Mester, saying needs more information to support rate cuts. So that's exactly what I think where the Fed are. Right, so it's a bit of a mixed bag there with the news. So if you come over to the MyFX Trading Hub and start to look through the analysis of the major pairs, you'll find that there's hardly any changes. If anything, dollar yen, which was sort of just going up on the hourly and daily charts, has sort of just drifted lower. And I think this is because of the uncertainty around the move in China, and just everything doesn't seem right? So that safe haven trade seems to be off the table a bit. The dollar index itself is holding up, but with dollar yen is heading to the downside. Now, this is one of the hard parts too, because it's very rare that you keep bouncing in and out of daily trend lines. And this is what we've been seeing of late, because there's no consistent trend across any of the currencies. They are, the general way I would look at it is the hourly charts is the noise, and then you start to get into the trends on the daily charts. It's been flipping between these two levels quite a bit. And that's actually hard to sort of work out. Is it going up or going down? Well, if it's breaking two trend lines, one day you'd think it would be going up. Next day it sort of retreats on both. So we're getting sort of really mixed signals technically, and that's pretty much what you're seeing on the actual charts themselves. Now, the Aussie RBA announcement, they cut rates yesterday. That's like nothing happened at all. And you know what? The whole thing, the Aussie dollar move, downside move, has been completely diffused. It's trading sideways across all time frames. The central bank sentiment, negative sentiment, is offset by the negative Fed sentiment. So overall, that's just become, a no trade, as has sterling and even euro for that matter. Even Kiwi's held onto its upward bias there on the dailies, but it's now drifting sideways on the hourlies. And you know what? It's probably likely to join the other currencies as well. So what we're seeing is a real basket case. Now, that may sound like there's not a lot to look at, but just be persistent with your analysis. And there is a few things happening where you can get into. So here's the Aussie dollar breakdown through sort of 69.90. It's now just trading sideways after an interest rate cut and a sort of a dovish central bank to get that muted move. Tells me that traders globally are just waiting for more information, right? They need more information, particularly about the US dollar. Now, I mentioned this the other day, like Kiwi, just breaking down through that first level. It's got 3 levels of support here. You can see how it's gravitating towards that second one, and there's another level behind it. So I can't see it going too far just at the moment. Here's the nice little sort of Ichiban setup where dollar yen has cruised to the downside. Now, it's not overly convincing yet, but you know what? The yen crosses are now back in the game. It's been a long time since dollar yen has been the pair that's been moving, and I think now we're really looking at the opportunity to get into a lot of these crosses, Aussie yen and CAD yen in particular. Euro, okay, drifted lower, now sort of trading sideways is pretty much what it's been doing. Sterling getting a little bit of an extra nudge from Brexit. And you can see dollar CAD here, a bit diffused, but the big thing here, this is what I'm sort of focusing on as far as what I was saying. Doesn't seem to be much going on in the currencies. There is in oil, right? This thing is falling, and I would expect, it to start to impact. Now, if you're looking for oil and the oil trade, and you understand the markets, well, what we're looking at is, okay, you're looking at CAD yen and oil in particular. Now, I was highlighting this yesterday in the meeting. Just having a look here, we had that sort of nice up move here in on the hourlies in oil, and it was just sort of cruising around here. We had some news out from OPEC saying they're going to restrict supply for another year, but that had no impact. And funnily enough, we did see a $2 bailout move down on the downside here in oil, and that gave us the move in CAD yen. Now, it's not exactly like oil is, busting out of some massive ranges. It really has to break down through 52 to be breaking down the dailies, and even a bit lower on the weeklies. But you know what? If you're looking for something to trade and get into, oil is an opportunity, as is CAD yen. And you can see here on the CAD yen chart, this is where CAD yen sort of broke down following that oil move. And you know what? It hasn't gone that far yet. I still think if oil keeps moving back to 50, 55, 54 bucks, we're going to see this thing down here. And this is potentially where the cash is. There's already downside momentum in dollar yen, which supports this whole move. Of course, we're not really breaking major levels here on the dailies, which is a bit of a shame. Otherwise, you might have a better trade on, because this trend line, well, you get the bottom of the chart here, bottom of the cloud, I should say, around 81.80, and also that daily support line at 81.15. So anyway, that's one of the things. So just because the currencies aren't moving doesn't mean other things are that you can't concentrate on. So make sure you do have a good look around. To me, at the moment, dollar yen is the pair to be looking at, and the one to be following. All right, so that's where we are for Wednesday, traders. It's this is one of those things. This is where your patience and discipline and professionalism will stand out. You have to be at times like this. Just wait, right? Don't get caught up in this day trading fiasco. Trading it, FX, or trading in general, it's more of a longer term perspective, and that may only be a few days. But if you're looking to take money out of the market every day, well, then you are going to be very confused and generally come unstuck. Now, just to explain one thing, I'll do this over the next probably week as well, every day. When we're talking about central bank sentiment, okay, we're talking about, what I'm talking about is the overall sentiment. Okay, so with these pairs, for instance, euro against the dollar, there's the ECB and the Fed. Now, the ECB sentiment is down, the Fed sentiment is down. Okay, so that means sideways because they're completely diffused. The Swiss, the CAD, and the yen, okay, those central banks are all neutral, in particular dollar CAD or Bank of Canada. So that's why that sentiment is down, because those other central banks are neutral, whereas the euro, sterling, and Aussie, okay, the central banks related to those currencies are down, the same as the Fed, and that's why those sentiments are sideways. Okay, I just want to clear that up. All right, guys, that's it from me. Have a good trade day. As I said, patience the main thing. Have a look at oil. Have a look at CAD yen. Have a look at Aussie yen. I posted this trade yesterday and in the analyst picks. I didn't get around to posting CAD yen, but I did discuss it in quite detail in the team meeting. You'll have a look here. The trade is in play. We did end up getting triggered here on this is my pen, on the top side. Now, it's not exactly racing away to the downside, but the position is on, and we have the opportunity to manage it from here and see if we can sort of maximize profits by giving it a chance to move. All right, guys, that's it from me. Have a good trade day. We'll see you in the 247 trade zone. Cheerio.